Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about a hot button issue, social studies. And this has been an interesting development lately. While we've always had social studies to learn about and discuss in our public schools, we've also had an uprising in those conversations as of late. So I'm going to start off with an article written on December 8th of this year, The Value of Being Different. And in this article, it starts off with a police officer by the name of Leon Negron, who advocated for this Human Rights Day and went to some of the 40 different workshops for Human Rights Day. First in the article mentioned was the American Dream workshop, in which a student, Israel Romero, came to America and from Venezuela. His only concept of America was, believe it or not, High School Musical movies.
I mean, win or lose, we're teammates. Okay, that's what we're about.
All right, now this is only gonna happen if we all work together. Now, who's in?
Now, I never realized when the High School Musical movies came out that they would be as big as they were. I really liked the first one. But I also never realized that they would be sending a message to other cultures out there that we're all rich, that we're all famous, that we're all super smart and super talented in various different mediums. The first one showed in cooking, in music, in acting, in mathematics and science, in sports, basketball. So why can't this be true? Because it's holding us up to a higher standard than anything else. But this isn't the first time in our American culture that we've had a TV show or a movie claiming that we're number one.
That dirt over here, get those rocks out over there. Come on, lift that shovel, tilt that hoe.
Talk about dumb. Spiffing up a war.
I quit. Hey, get back to work. Who called a mutiny break?
We're through. What are you going to do about it, Skyscraper Nose?
What am I gonna do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Major, they won't work.
No? Is that so?
And next time, I won't be so easy on you.
Klinger, where's the shrubbery I told you to get?
Oh, I shopped that out to a vendor who's beating the bushes for bushes. Well, speak of the bush beater. Hey, Kim Han, that was quick.
Piece of cake. No trouble to shake a leg. Who's the tomato?
Tomato.
This tomato is the big cheese. Major Houlihan, Kim Han.
Kim Han, it's very nice to meet you.
Ditto, dollface.
Tell me, where did you learn how to speak such interesting English?
U.S. magazines and papers. See all the movies. America #1. Donna Turner, hubba, hubba.
This kid is a whiz on the States. Yesterday we played Name the Capitals. He skunked me. And I knew 4.
You know, someday that's going to make a wonderful shade tree.
If I'm still here then, I'll hang myself from it.
Okay, fork over the moolah.
$1, as promised.
You need any more help? Just whistle. You know how to do that?
Sure. You just put your lips together and blow. I like movies too.
So far, you saw how Kim Han studied American movies to learn how to speak English and how to communicate with regular American people in the way that we communicate, or communicated back then. But what you might not have picked up on is the Americans being lazy, insubordinate, rude to the foreman Klinger. Same episode as those clips, that little boy talking to one of the doctors about a very interesting concern that he had relating to the American culture.
What's up, Doc? Can I talk to you?
Sure. Kim Hahn, right?
Yeah. I hear people say you're a top-notch doctor.
Obviously some pretty smart people. You got a problem?
I want an operation. I have plenty of loot to pay.
What kind of an operation?
I want to have eyes like Americans.
Come on. You're kidding, right?
I'm very serious.
What's wrong with having eyes like a Korean?
Koreans are little squirts. Americans are real tough. I want to be like them. Like you. Like John Wayne.
Look, Kim Hahn.
Please, Doc. I think about this for a long time.
Then you know that having an eye operation isn't going to change who you are.
It will change how I look.
To whom?
To Korean women. They think American guys are real dreamboats.
Uh-huh.
Please, Doc. Will you help me?
Sorry, Doc.
Come on, Doc. Give me a break.
I am. Believe me, I am.
Have it your way. I'll go to the 80-63rd match. Someone there will fix me up.
Hey, you know what I heard? Tomorrow we're getting fresh milk. I would have been thrilled with fresh powder.
We gotta get a punching bag for the swamp.
What? And this kid is just one of thousands who think the road to happiness leads straight to America. If we stay here much longer, we'll have all of Korea disoriented.
Orient is a noun for the East, an English metonym for the continent of Asia. Orient, the verb, is to align or position oneself. Sadly, there isn't always really funny quips like what Hawkeye had in his letter to make us seriously think about our impact on other cultures. In another part of this article that we've been discussing, the value of being different, there's another immigrant, Sam Giangreco, who went to the workshop called Building Bridges, in which he helped a special education student be able to play Connect 4. And that's something that I absolutely love about just a way that our culture is seeing a coming together like we saw in the movie earlier. But it's not the norm, and we need to make it the norm. Textbook minimizes slavery in state. Now, I may have told you in the past that one of my favorite books of all time is Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, which discusses the banning and burning of books, not just in public schools, but throughout the country, to where firefighters changed their roles from putting out fires to starting them and burning these dangerous texts. What I'm arguing about is not the fact that this book minimizes slavery, but the book that is referenced in this article, The Connecticut Adventure by John W. Ifkakik. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This book doesn't just minimize slavery, saying, oh, it's no big deal, everybody can have slaves. What it's saying is it's setting the state of Connecticut slightly apart from the rest of the country that had slaves. And from those textbooks that said what a danger slavery was, which it was, where some owners beat their slaves, lynched their slaves, forced them to do degrading things, including sexual assault to the female and possibly even the male slaves. But this book says, hey, Connecticut might have been ahead of the curve. Connecticut is where they said, okay, let's limit it to 1 or 2 slaves because we don't need that much in our culture up here. Let's treat our slaves a little bit better, more like unpaid workers that live in the house. They're not beaten, they're not abused, they're given square meals. They may not have the same liberties that we have, but it's not as bad as other places. So, owning other people, still a wrong in my book. Expressly a wrong in my book. But to ban a book that said, hey, Connecticut was better than the rest, what's the point in that? Is that because kids aren't getting the fact that slavery is wrong from reading that book? Because they should. I don't know. It baffles me. An article that I saved from my hometown newspaper, the Reminder News, back June 25th of last year, discusses the early history of education in the state. So, 1800s, there were school sessions all year long. And it's not that everyone went to school all year long, except for the teachers and the faculty, but the boys who would normally help their fathers in the field in the summer attended winter classes. And the girls and younger children, because they couldn't schlep themselves through the hard snows of the winter, attended the summer courses. In the cities, classes would be longer, and in the farmhouses of what they considered suburbs back then, the days would be shorter, and then they could help at the farms. Some shocking things are that to heat the schools, because no electricity yet, they would have stoves that burned wood, etc., and the ashes were then placed in the kids' playground. And some of the games were just throwing themselves on top of the ashes, trying to push them down into the ground. So it's all very interesting to see how far we've come, how now we're not even allowed to have wooden or metal playscapes. They all have to be very specific plastic, so no splinters from the wood, no burning from the metal. I remember growing up with both and getting splinters and getting burnt legs on the slides, and I turned out okay, I think. But this was a really cool thing that Pleasant Valley Schoolhouse and Museum did back last year, 2015. So check it out. The last article that I want to share with you today is, again, from last year, May 14th, 2015, from the Reminder News from South Windsor. And it states a whole new social studies framework. This one is called C3, not C3PO, but C3 stands for college, career, and civic life. And that's a really important thing that Abraham Lincoln wanted when he first talked about revamping the education system in the United States, later to be called the United States of America. What C3 is really about is suggested sequence of disciplines to focus from kindergarten through 12th grade. And they would focus on history, economics, geography, and civics. The interdisciplinary approach, coupled with integration of the arts and humanities, is meant to give students a deeper appreciation of concepts covered. It revolves around the school and local communities. So, can we bring this article full circle back to the textbook issue? We want to engage students in thinking about our environment. We start off, hey, starting from the inside, get to know yourself, then interpersonal, your family, your closest friends, organizational, the school that you attend, the community, what town do you live in, public policy, how about the state you live in, and the residing areas around it. And thinking about those as you go through the various circles, you start to wonder, what was life like? What do we want to see things change? And how, as present day students, In the future, do you want to prepare for college, go into a trades or other career, and be a full-fledged member of civic life in this culture or others? It's really preaching to students that you hold the reins to your own life.
Saying goodbye, saying goodbye to Hollywood, saying goodbye.